former president and current presidential candidate. And unfortunately, Donald Trump did another interview, this time on Newsmax. I want to walk you through some moments from this, starting off with a faceplant of sorts, where Trump makes a point that is directly contradictory with something he just recently said that I'll show you in just a bit.
The time, but we have a lot of good people. I don't like to think about it too much. One thing I will say, and I've watched this stuff for a long time, there's never been a vice president that's done anything for the election. In other words, they vote for the one person. I had a very good vice president, did a good job till the end. I disagreed with him very strongly. I still do. But I had a guy, central casting. But I don't think vice presidents have any impact at all on the vote. And this is after.
Okay, so perfectly fair conversation by itself. I think it's true. I'm sure they have some effect, but not a massive effect most of the time on the election. But Trump, during a recent speech, said this.
We're leaving the age where. But you have to remember, Ron was a disciple of Paul Ryan, who is a rhino loser who currently is destroying Fox and would constantly vote against entitlements. He would just vote against. Remember that, the wheelchair over the cliffs, the Democrats used it. The wheelchair over the cliff commercial, very effective. That was about him. But Paul Ryan's a big reason that Mitt Romney, I'm not a big fan of Mitt Romney, lost his election.
So Paul Ryan, as a VP candidate on the Mitt Romney ticket, has such an influence that he tanked Romney's campaign, but also VP candidates don't have an effect at all on campaigns. Which one is it, Donnie? I honestly do think there's truth to the statement that VP candidates have a very minimal effect on a presidential campaign. Could be wrong on that, but seems to be the case. But Trump, at least, is very mixed up with himself on that one. Next moment on the subject of Tucker Carlson's firing.
I don't know if it was voluntary or was it somebody fired, but I think Tucker's been terrific. He's been, especially over the last year or so, he's been terrific to me.
There's a lot of turmoil over there at Fox. I mean, $787 they just paid. Why would they get rid of a guy who's performing? Why would somebody do that to their business? Because they're losing money right now. Their stock has gone down.
Well, I was surprised that they made a settlement on that case. I thought that was a case that should easily be won, and they made a settlement. Look, you'll have to ask them. I'm not representing them at all by any means, but the Tucker situation, again, you don't know if it's a firing. Maybe he left because he wasn't being given his free reign. He wants free reign, maybe, but.
Apologies if it's bleeding through on the microphone. There is some thunder right now outside of my window. But on what he was saying, there's been thorough reporting by now that shows Tucker was indeed fired. He wasn't leaving to have free reign. It is funny he mentioned that he thought the Dominion defamation lawsuit was something Fox News could have come out on top with and didn't need to settle, which reminds me, right before the Dominion Fox News trial was set to start, Trump posted something on Truth Social saying Fox's legal strategy essentially should be to go into court and proclaim that the election was stolen. Because the defense for defamation is just proving that what you were saying about someone or an entity was accurate. So Trump is saying, prove that the election was stolen, and that would have gotten you out of the whole $787.5 million settlement situation. Yeah, but see, that's the issue, Trump. That's why they're in all of this trouble in the first place, because the election wasn't stolen and there isn't evidence for your claims. So that would have been a disastrous strategy in court for Fox News, for sure. But moving on to the third moment from this interview on the subject of DeSantis.
But by the way, Ron DeSantis, do you think he could be a good president someday? In like 8 years, 16 years? I mean, you endorsed him once. He's got some talent. You're kind of crushing him right now. Someday, could he be president?
Well, I endorsed him once, and he was losing badly. And because of the endorsement, he won in a landslide literally the following day. Look, right now I'm very down on him. I'm a believer in loyalty, and I'm a believer in other things. And he has obviously not run a very good campaign because he's getting crushed. So I really don't know. I don't know him. I don't know him that well. I agreed to endorse him. He came over to see me. He was one of 100 people that fought a little bit on the impeachment hoax number one, impeachment hoax number two. They were hoaxes. They were just hoaxes. And
both those impeachments were after he endorsed DeSantis for governor in 2018.
Based on that, I did it because I didn't know the people he was running against. He was running against a man that was way up in the polls, leading by a massive amount. That election was over. When I endorsed him, the election was over in Ron's favor. I mean, it was Ron was getting ready to quit. So I don't know. I'm very disappointed in him because I'm a loyal person, maybe to a fault. I'm a loyal person. And somebody gets you into office and then you're telling people, well, I don't know if I'll run against the president. You know, I mean, life shouldn't have to work that way, but it does, and that's okay too.
It's funny he openly admits that about the endorsement of DeSantis. Yeah, I didn't endorse him because I thought he would serve the people of Florida well. I just endorsed him because he was supportive of me and I didn't really know who else was running. Pretty strange. I'll send you off from this segment with a funny moment from this interview.
And even the Democrats say it was one of the most successful presidencies. We got hit with COVID. I even got that where the stock market was higher at the end than it was just prior to COVID coming in. And even the Democrats.
What Democrat? Where? Who? Find me this Democrat that thinks Trump had one of the most successful presidencies. I don't think so.